What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 7 of my 365-day graphic novel review challenge thing that I've been doing. This week, I've been trying to stick to characters from DC Comics from the 1940s, specifically the Justice Society, and today I want to talk to you about the Spectre, Crimes and Judgment. This is written by John Ostrander with art by Tom Mandrake, and this collects the first 12 issues of the 1990s Spectre series. And this series is very messed up. I'm surprised that this series was not done at Vertigo. It is about on par with some of the Swamp Thing stuff that was going on at that time. Very twisted, very dark stuff. A lot of it I'm very surprised that they were able to get away with having it happen in the main DC universe. But they did, and I'm kind of glad that they did, because if this had happened at Vertigo, then after a while, once they started pretending like Vertigo and the DC universe were two separate entities, then we wouldn't have had the Spectre in the DC universe. So I am kind of glad that they went ahead and kept this in the DCU. But as for this book itself, it's very enjoyable. It's 12 issues long, but it doesn't take you that long to get through it. It's a very fast-paced 12 issues, but it's very enjoyable. I had a lot of fun reading this. Basically, the premise is you've got Jim Corrigan, who was a police officer who has been bonded with a spirit of some kind, and he goes around seeking vengeance on people who do evil. And this series mainly tries to explore exactly what that means. Does he just go around and he kills people who steal things? Does he go around killing people who do really, really evil things? There's this one character who kind of gets to know Jim and the Spectre throughout this entire year of comics, and she kind of questions his mission and says, you know, how far are you willing to take this? Are you going to explore exactly what this mission means? And I really like that Ostrander is able to do that, while at the same time not deviating too far from what the Spectre is all about. Because if you're at all familiar with the Spectre before you read this, you know that he is a demon/ghost sent by God to right wrongs. That's kind of how I've always been familiar with him, is that he is the wrath of God in physical form. Now, this book plays around with that a little bit. It's not entirely clear if he is fighting on God's side or if he's somehow a little bit more of an independent agent. There's one point where he follows the soul that goes to heaven because he needs to know some information about a boy that's been kidnapped, and the Archangel Michael stops him and says, "You are not allowed in heaven." Now, just a year or two later, I remember the Spectre was in Grant Morrison's Justice League run, and I thought that he was a little bit more closely associated with God in that run. So it is playing around with his relationship with the deities of the DC Universe a little bit here. There is one thing I don't like. At one point, they reveal that the Spectre, or I don't know if they reveal it because it comes from a lying demon who says this, but this demon says that the Spectre was a demon or a devil who had rebelled against God and then repented, and so God bound him with a human host. I don't like that because it is way too similar to Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider has an almost identical origin story where there's a demon who is bound to a human host and then he goes out doing good deeds. I would rather it just be the wrath of God who is going out killing bad guys and visiting upon them horrors that are equal to the horrors that they visited on someone else. I think that's a pretty simple premise, and it keeps it just different enough from other characters like Spawn or Ghost Rider that it's not a very similar kind of character. But overall, I really like this book. It's very twisted, very messed up, so if you're looking for that sort of thing and you're looking for a nice little bit of enjoyment from seeing evil people have evil visited upon them, if you get a kick out of that sort of thing like I sometimes do, I reluctantly admit, then you are very much going to enjoy Crimes and Judgments. This is volume 1 of Ostrander's run. There is another trade paperback that was put out, which I think is called Crimes and Punishments, and I have not read that. And I don't know if DC is planning on collecting more of that run, because Ostrander was on this book for like 50-something issues. And I know that Michael Holt from the Justice Society, Mr. Terrific, he first appeared in this series, somewhere around the 50-issue mark. So if you are interested in this series, there is another trade paperback from this run. I do hope that DC continues to collect more from this run. I don't know if they will or not. But that's all I have to say about this book. I hope that you guys will come back tomorrow as I begin week 2 of my 365-day graphic novel review challenge. I know what's going to be in store for the next week, but I'll let you guys find out tomorrow. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.